grandfather yourself for tax-free accumulation and tax-free income. In this educational video episode, I'm going to address the question, what should you do with a lump sum of money from a legal settlement, an inheritance, or maybe the sale of an asset? Get ready, it's probably not what you think. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been helping people optimize assets and minimize taxes now for nearly 5 decades. Helping people primarily save for long-term goals such as retirement. But when I meet with people to help them choose the best alternatives to accumulate their money tax-free, not just tax-deferred, so I'm not a proponent of IRAs and 401ks and pension plans and what have you. My favorite vehicle I call the LaserFund, which is an acronym. LASER stands for Liquid Asset Safely Earning Returns. And so I'm going to gift you a copy of a book called The LaserFund at the end of this episode as a token of appreciation for watching this, because you may want to consider a laser fund for a lump sum of money that you might be expecting is impending. And where do these lump sums come from? Well, I've met many people that they come to me because they want to make sure that they don't outlive their money during their golden years. Sometimes I'm having to do strategic rollouts from their IRAs or 401ks to optimize those assets, get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, so that they can be immune from taxes, inflation, and market volatility during their golden years. Those 3 big dangers, taxes, inflation, and market volatility, are what cause most Americans to outlive their money. Well, in the process, many times people will share with me that they have a lump sum of money or capital, maybe sitting in a bank or credit union, and they don't know what to do with it yet. They've been waiting to figure it out, but life gets busy, or they know that they're going to receive a lump sum of money or a windfall within the next 6 months, a year, even 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road. Well, where do these lump sums generally come from? This capital, because money is capital, could come from a legal settlement. So I've had many people who knew that they were going to be awarded in a settlement, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million from an automobile accident, or maybe a malpractice because of a surgery they had, whatever it is. So legal settlements sometimes create a lump sum of money for people, and they don't know what to do with that. It could be a life insurance policy that paid out at death, and so you're receiving life insurance proceeds from the death of a loved one, and you were named the beneficiary. It could be an inheritance where your parents or your aunt or whoever passes away and they named you as one of the beneficiaries, or maybe the sole beneficiary. I just had recently a young man that inherited about $4.5 million from his grandmother and then from his folks, who all passed away within 1 year of each other. And so it could come in the form of an inheritance where you're receiving a lump sum of money. And it could be assets, it could be properties or stocks or 401ks. And so you're going to have to liquidate those sooner than later and what have you, and pay the tax on it. And people say, what do I do with this lump sum of money that I'm going to receive, especially after I sell their home or after I sell their stocks or liquidate their 401k? Because if you inherit a 401k, non-spousal heirs, you have to pay tax on that within 10 years now. You can't keep it until you retire. You can't keep postponing or deferring the tax on it. The government wants their share of that sooner than later. It could be from the sale of an asset. So maybe it didn't come from an inheritance, but maybe you're selling your business or your dental practice or what have you, or maybe you have a piece of real estate and you're tired of being the landlord, fixing toilets, evicting tenants, and taking out the trash, and you just want to sell it. So maybe you're selling an asset, a machinery, or a property, or rental properties, and you have this lump sum. So lump sums can come from anywhere. All too often, people take those lump sums and they park it in a bank or credit union temporarily, but then it sits there for 6 months, a year, 2 years, earning next to nothing. And of course, the current of inflation is usually coming down much faster than the 1 or 2% interest that they're earning at the bank. They're rowing upstream at the rate of 1 or 2 miles an hour. The current of inflation is coming down much faster than that. So they're going backwards the more they let it sit. So what should you do with lump sums? I've had many, many people ask me this question. So without hesitation, I say, well, if I were you, I would keep that money liquid and safe. And if it's coming from life insurance proceeds, that is tax-free. Many settlements are income tax-free. And so I say, you know what? I would keep it tax-free. So you do that by putting that money that you don't have to pay tax on into an insurance policy on yourself, or you can use a surrogate if you're uninsurable, but it's the owner of the insurance policy that gets all the tax-free accumulation. But what you're doing is you are taking the least amount of life insurance death benefit that the IRS will let you get away with, and you're putting in this lump sum of money so that it earns a rate of return tax-free, the best internal rate of return possible, so that if that insurance policy, like mine have earned the last 25, 30 years, 11.17% average, if I earn 11, I want to net 10. I want to net within 1% of the gross rate of return. I want the cost of the insurance to only drain out about 1 percentage point of the interest I'm earning on that. Now, if you're going, I've never seen an insurance policy pay an average return of 10 or 11%, well, then you haven't seen one designed correctly and funded properly to be deemed what I call a LaserFund, okay? And that's why I'm going to gift you a copy of that book at the end of this episode. So when people come to me, it doesn't matter if it's $100,000, $500,000, $2 million, $10 million, they have these lump sums. Now, on this channel, I talk about how you structure a laser fund correctly. And if you want to accumulate the money tax-free and then be able to access the money tax-free, you have to comply with a tax citation called TAMRA. It stands for, it's an acronym, and it stands for the Technical and Miscellaneous Revenue Act of 1988. So let's say you were going to reposition $1 million lump sum amount of money. The most you could put into that insurance contract would be about 20% a year, so about $200,000 a year. If you had a lump sum of $500,000, that would be about $100,000 a year. And so you may have to park the rest of it somewhere temporarily while you're satisfying this TAMRA law. If you don't satisfy TAMRA, it will accumulate tax deferred, but that's like an IRA or 401k or an annuity. It's only tax deferred. When you go to access the money, you're now going to have to pay tax on the gain that you made. I want it to be tax free. I want that million to grow to 2 million every 7.5 years at an average return like I've earned since 1980 on these contracts, 9.6%. Your money doubles every 7.5 years. So that if you have 2 million, that could generate a payout of nearly $200,000 a year tax-free. I want tax-free growth. I want tax-free income. So you have to comply with sections of the Internal Revenue Code. 72E allows your money to grow tax-free, but 7702 dictates how you can access the money without paying income tax, and you have to comply with TAMRA, okay? So when you have a lump sum, it's imperative you go to somebody who's a professional who knows how to structure a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract correctly to comply with TAMRA so that you can spread it out. So let's go back to $1 million example, and you can extrapolate from that. If I design it to hold 200,000 a year, I can put in 200,000 the first day of the first year, 200,000 the first day of the second year. And so you just count that up. In 4 years and 1 day into the fifth year, you can put the last 200,000. Now you've got your $1 million in there. So you can do it that way. And now all the growth and all the money you take out of that, as long as that stays in force, will be totally income tax free the rest of your life. And if you die anytime, anything left in there will blossom and transfer income tax free to your heirs, whoever you name as the beneficiary. Nothing else does that in the Internal Revenue Code. Allows you to accumulate your money tax free, access that money totally income tax free, and when you die, it blossoms. It increases in value. See, I'm 70 right now. If I died, every million I would have in my portfolio of LaserFunds would double to about 2 million and transfer tax-free to my wife, my kids, my grandkids, a church, a charity, whoever I want. And people say, how much does that cost? Well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. It's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax if I put money where most people put their money, in taxed as earned or tax-deferred investments, okay? They have to earn 15 to net 10 in a taxable investment. I only have to earn 11 to net 10. That 1% is not tax. It's the cost of the insurance that makes the whole thing tax-free. That's why it's a minuscule portion of money that would otherwise go out the window in tax if I put it in a taxed as earned investment or a tax deferred investment. Does that make sense? So if you are expecting some impending event where you're going to realize a lump sum of money, I would recommend that you check out a LaserFund sooner than later. Now, if you're pretty sure you're going to receive that money within the next 5 years, you can actually set up a plan to be able to accommodate, let's say, $1 million or $500,000, whatever that lump sum is going to be. You can set up a plan to do that, and you don't have to put in $200,000 a year. You could put in $10,000 or $20,000 a year and sort of nurse it along, so that if you put in $20,000 and you could have put in $200,000, that grandfathers you. So let's say you put in $20,000 the first year, $20,000 the second year, $20,000 the third year, $20,000 the fourth year. You put in $80,000, but you could have put in, at that point, $800,000. Now you finally receive the inheritance, or you finally get the settlement because it took so long. And now, because you've grandfathered yourself, you can throw in that $800,000, the remainder, which would be $720,000 in this example, in one fell swoop. And on the first day of the fifth year, 4 years and 1 day, you can put in the last $200,000. And see, you don't have to wait 5 years. If you wait till you have the money in hand, then you have to start the 5-year clock. And so it will take 5 years. If you know it's coming, most of the time, I recommend people grandfather themselves while they can qualify, get that water under the bridge so that you can nurse it along. You've got to be able to pay the minimum amount, which might be 1/10 that. And then if you don't use the room the IRS gives you, you never lose that room. If you could put in $100,000 and you only put in $10,000, you have $90,000 of room that you haven't used yet for every year. You can throw that in all in one fell swoop when you get it, and you have not violated the TAMRA tax citation. It's still going to be tax-free when you access it. So if you want to learn more about this, it's incredible. If you are planning on receiving a lump sum from the sale of an asset, inheritance, a settlement, a legal settlement, a death benefit, I would recommend you accumulate that money tax-free and grandfather yourself so you can access that money tax-free. And if you happen to die, it blossoms and transfers income tax-free. I want you to earn a rate of return like I have of 9-10% is what I've averaged for the last more than 40 years now, since 1980. But you need to do that by establishing a LaserFund. I would recommend sooner than later so you can qualify. And if you don't use the room, if you haven't got the lump sum yet, you can grandfather yourself to catch up or be able to put in the lump sums at any point in time down the road. But that way, you're letting the contract sort of mature or season that will build up the room so you can throw in more of the lump sum when you do receive it. So if you want to learn more about lump sums, I have a chapter in this book on it. This is the LaserFund I want to gift you. Here's how you claim your free copy. You simply go to LaserFund.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. Come on, have some skin in the game. I will cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book. It's 300 pages. This side is 200 pages, 14 chapters with all the charts and graphs explaining how to diversify and create the foundation for tax-free accumulation and what have you. If you learn more by stories, you're a right brain learner. You flip it over to this side, about 100 pages, 12 chapters, and one of these chapters talks about what to do with lump sums. There's all kinds of other uses for a laser fund: retirement, college funding, real estate management. But for lump sums, this is a dream come true rather than just keeping the money parked in a bank or a credit union, because these insurance institutions are usually ranked about 6 notches higher in safety, and your rate of return is going to be 5 times what the bank or credit union is going to pay you, sometimes a lot more. So go to LaserFund.com. If you like to listen and learn and watch and learn, there's options there for audio and video. Check out some of the educational webinars we do on a regular basis. And you can even put yourself into an IUL specialist calendar to be able to pick their brain on how a laser fund may help you in your particular set of circumstances. If you've got a lump sum, or maybe somebody you know, your folks, has a lump sum coming, so that you can begin to get grandfathered and take advantage of tax-free accumulation and tax-free access using one of my favorite financial instruments, the LaserFund.